When in Java, the parent class for everything is basically object, right? So, but when you come to the collection section, you have to um, keep in mind that iterable. I mean, object is anyways the superior still than the iterable one. Iterable is an interface. The hierarchy for the collection starts with iterable interface, and then collection. Down the line, we have three sections of um, yeah interfaces, which are list, queue, and set. The most usable things in our day to day experience will be list, and you will be using set sometimes, and queue. I have seen very rarely using it, but yeah, depends on the project requirement. You will come to know which is necessary for that specific requirement. But we'll see some examples about these collection frameworks. So how this will be executing here. So, so basically there'll be some key differences between list, queue, and set. Okay. So let me present screen again. Okay. List basically will not allow duplicates. So it will, sorry, list will allow duplicates. So it will have lot of entries in it. So irrespective of the whether entry value is duplicate or not, so list will be storing those values in this collection. And then set will not allow duplicates, whereas in the list you will see the insertion order, which with which you have been inserting, yeah, will be preserved. So, and queue basically, you know how the queue structure is, the first in first out formula. So that will be how the queue will be working with. So if a first element is inserted, and when you are taking out of the queue an element, so whatever is inserted first, that element will be coming out. And there'll be extension classes for all these interfaces. So interface we know, right? So interface will not have any implementation until Java 7. So we will have an implementation later, versions of Java for some default methods. So that's different story. We'll come to that later. But array list, vector, stack, these are the classes which are extending list and also linked list. So linked list is again um, some different stuff here. So it is extending list, it is implementing list interface and DQ interface. And array DQ is extending, sorry, is implementing DQ interface. Similarly, priority queue has said, so these classes will also be extending the functionalities from set, sorted set. So this is the basic hierarchy of list, queue, and set. So we'll be giving another image for map. Okay. So map structure will be like this. So we'll have a map as a interface. Then you see the color coding interface implements the pale yellow, and then light pink color is indicating the class name here. So sorted map is also an interface, and tree map is going to be, yeah, it is implementing a sorted map. And hash map and linked hash map or extended classes from again from the map class. So specific features of each class and method uh, will be lot. I mean, collection framework will have a lot of methods and specific features there. So you don't have to remember all of them. I mean, we'll first primarily focus on what are specifically required for the interview and also for the initial days of your job. So slowly during your experience, you'll be learning all those things. What is this? Um, what are these classes and what specific thing that when we have to use which class and all. So, so to give some simple example, let me we'll write we'll see what are the methods which are there for a couple of classes so that you will be familiar and you will have some hands on there. So yeah, as I've already explained, suppose if I'm going with if I wanted to see any class details and all, so you have to go through Google and just type the respective class name and type the Java docs so that you can see all the implemented classes and what is the feature of each class like that. So in this scenario, let's take first collection framework with list, and then we will go with other things down the line. What is that we can cover? Okay. So if I come to just Google, let me plug in my. Yeah. So navigate with the list first. So you can see this one. Hmm. And all the collection classes interfaces will be basically in the util package. So that is something you have to remember, because when we are writing this class here, right? Suppose if we are trying to use um, what class we can use. Suppose a string class. You see, the package of string class is in java.lang. So then string str is equal to new string. When you write this, you don't have to do any package inputs because string is already in the lang package. So basically, lang package is where you will have default access to any class. Okay. Suppose if you are writing array list, as we saw in the uh, list stuff here, array list is a class which is extending list interface. When you write array list, al is equals to new array list. So I have to specifically import this one. Okay. If you don't import, then it will be showing a compile time error. Because lang is a default accessible package, so you don't need to specifically write it. Or whereas when you are using collections, you'll be default. I mean, if your compiler is not intelligent enough, then it will be throwing an compile time error, and then you have to fix it with the import statement. Yeah. Coming to the list package. So we'll see what is list basically here. So list is, as we discussed, right? Super interfaces are collection and iterable. And implementing classes, there are several other list implementing classes. Like array list is one that we have seen. Linked list is also one we have seen. Apart from the one which we have seen in the graph, there are several more: stack, vector. All these are implementing classes or extending classes for the interface of list. So as we discussed, the methods which you see in the interface have to be implemented for sure in the class which is implementing it. So all these list methods will be common for any class which is implementing list interface. Yeah, they have to definitely extend the functionality. They have to have the logic somehow in the class. So these are the common methods. So you can assume that we will have in any list class, we will have these methods for sure. Okay. So basic method that you need to know is adding an element to the collection. So basically what is collection, as for you, is a group of objects, right? So when you see array or um, specifically array in our programming, so array will be, when you write an array, so far I think we have not written. So you see the string array, right? String array args. So args is a type, args is a reference variable of type string, of array of strings. Okay. So you can only pass string type of data in this array. Okay. Not any other type of data or object. But when you consider collection, so there is no specific type that you can pass. You can pass any type of value into that. So that is bigger advantage with the collections. So you don't have to restrict with any specific type. Be it. So suppose if I'm writing array list dot add, okay. You see there are a lot of overloaded methods in the array list. Okay, add with passing in any object of type. Okay, you don't have to be specific. There is uh, add means I can pass new string. String is one object. Like al dot add of, I can pass one. Something like that. So it's an integer value. So al dot add of, like new employee or new exchange. Sorry, exchange is an interface, right? New Remitly exchange. You can pass any of these things. Okay. So these collections are capable enough to store the different type of objects in those memory allocations. Okay. So that's one difference. So add method is crucial for any list method, list extended class, so that you can directly add an element and to that list. So when you append a list, so it will be following an insertion order. Suppose if you want to append the new element which you are inserting or which you are adding to the list, so if you want to add a specific index, then you have to go with this one, this method, this overloaded method. When you pass index 0 and append an element, so it will specifically go to that particular index. And add all, so add all method is extending a functionality for you in a way that if you want to add n number of a collection to this array list, you can also do that, because collection is again is going to be in any object, so they're accepting the different elements into the same collection.
So if we want to add more integers in void, can you do that?
More integers in void.
Yeah.
What is void?
Sorry, not void. If you add
Mhm.
index, right?
Mhm.
I need more, like not only index.
Okay.
Can you write add or should we write add all? If I need n number of int.
So if you want to insert n number of integers, uh, so if you want to, as it says here, insert the specified element in the specified position. Okay, so add all means if you are adding a collection at a specific index, then you don't need to go for it, right? You can directly add all.
I don't know.
So it will add at the latest index. And specifically, if you want to go with a specific index and then collection, you can still do that, right? You can pass number 2 index and then give a collection as a second parameter. So then what happens is at the second index of that array list, you will have this object available. Not, I mean, your collection size is not going to increase. If you want to increase the collection size, you have to add all method. You have to use add all method. Where because if your collection size now is 10, and if you're adding 5 elements more, then its size will be 15. And if you're using the second method and you're passing 5 elements more, so it's just one element is added to that index, so the count of the existing array will be 11, not 15. Yeah, that's a difference. Yeah. So clear is basically removes all the elements from the list, right? So if you have 10 elements in the list, so when you do clear, so all the elements will be deleted. So your size will come to 0. Contains is basically to see if that object is available in the list or not. Okay. And equals to compare the objects. So if a given object is equal to the
Specific number
specific compares the specified object with the list for equality. Okay. And then get, if you give any specific index of the list, so you can retrieve that value. Okay.
So if we give clear,
Mhm.
so I want that again. Should I
You
give
cannot
You
retrieve.
can't do it.
Yeah, you cannot do
You
it.
can't just refactor.
No.
I thought get will do that because it says returns the element. Right? So it should
Yeah.
clear and then
No. Returns is basically, if you see returns anywhere, is basically what is the return type of it.
Oh.
Okay. What the method is going to return to you. So you see here, we write like in our methods. So suppose in the Remitly exchange, yeah, you see double.
Yeah, double.
This we say like get value returns double. That's it. Not like it's going to be undo things. Yeah. So yeah, remove basically at specific index if you want to remove an element like that. Yeah, as I've given this approach of exploring about any class, so it's up to you. I mean, whatever class you want to see, you can do all the experiments. Okay, in your IDE, take a class, add elements, remove them, validate if it is equals. So whatever you want, you can try exploring individually. Okay, and let's see. Same thing with set. Let's set. So here again, the same one, adding an element to the set, adds a specified element to this set if it's not already present. Okay. So this is a new functionality with set. So if the element that you are adding is already existing in the set, it won't be adding a new element. Okay. Suppose if I'm adding same number 1 2 second times, the value, the size of the set will be remains, even though you are inserted two times, the size of the set remains one only, because you will have only one element common, not duplicated one. And clear contains equals hash code is empty is kind of a boolean method. So if you execute this method, so it will tell if the set is empty or not. Okay, if it is empty, then it will return true, otherwise false. So in future, if you are writing any methods for your classes, right, so they have to be you have to remember that they have to be something with a good naming convention, so that anyone who refers to those methods in future, they should be able to understand those methods. Also, we have to maintain appropriate comments, etc. So that's about set. uh, Q. Let's see Q. Uh, So if you see here, Q is again the super interfaces of Q is collection and iterable. So in the implementing classes of Q, all these are classes. There will be several classes here. So the methods in the queue is adding an element to the queue will be same. This is going to return whether a boolean statement, maybe what this returns. Let's say true as specified by collection add e. Inserts a specified element into this queue if it's possible to do so immediately without violating capacity instructions, returning true upon success, and throwing an illegal state exception if a space is currently available. If no space is currently available. So this explains, right? So what this method is going to do. So basically, if you have a space to add a new element in the queue, so it will, and it is added successfully, then it will be returning true to you, which means the element is added to the queue. Peak is basically driving. This has some different terminologies. Okay, suppose a queue has 10 elements. How can I show you? You are the people in the class, or anyone else join. Okay, let me take a paint. Or I can use Excel better. Let's assume this is a queue. First in, first out, right? So this is peak. Peak basically, whenever you add an element, so it starts with a peak element. Suppose if I add 1, then if you add a second element, and element 3, suppose 4, like that. As per this queue, queue peak method is going to retrieve but does not remove the head of the queue or returns null if the queue is empty. Okay, so what it will do functionally, so when you execute a peak method for on top of a queue object, in this case, as per this, it will return 1 to the caller. Okay, but it won't remove. Queue structure remains same. Okay, and when you do a poll, retrieves and removes the head of the queue. Okay, if you do peak, then it will return 1 and queue remains same. And if you do poll, it will still return 1 and the element will be removed from the queue. And the queue will be adjusted in a way like 2, 3, 4, like this. So that's the difference between peak and poll. So you don't see the get element, all those things, because get element is specifically for list and set. Okay, and queue interface is a little different. Peak and poll is terminologies you have to remove. You have to remember. Okay, when you are adding an element, add is a common one, and peak and poll is something like basically to retrieve elements or remove elements or get the latest element from the queue. Mm, yeah. So as per this sheet so far, we covered 3 major interfaces here, and specifically into these classes, we can go further. And coming to map, we see sorted map, hash map. So let's see what is map interface is going to do. Map is basically, anyone have any idea about map?
And like does it comes under collection?
Um, yeah. So map is basically a structure where you have a key and value pairs. Okay. Each a set of key and value is called as an entry in map. These terminologies are little important. So for list, you will have one element each, like 1, 2, 3, like that. Same with set queue. But where you go with map, you will have entry 1, entry 2, entry 3.
Like key value pairs.
Yeah, each entry
Each entry will be
will
having
have a
the
key and value. Okay.
keys, like unique value.
Yeah, key should be unique. Okay. So unit you can have 1, 2, 3, something like that. Right. Suppose Google, Microsoft, Meta, something like that. So this is how map structure will be. These are all we call them data structure. How they wanted to maintain the data, how easy to retrieve, how easily we have to retrieve the data. So that depends on the our business requirements. So we have to go with which database. I mean, not database, which data structure. Yeah, which collection internally. Okay. So this is how map structure will be basically. Let's see what is this map looks like. So this is the all text. I mean, if you want to go detail about each collection or any class, you can refer to this, but it doesn't it is not necessarily to go through all this documentation. uh, your major job will be looking at this functionalities, what this class will be supporting or interface will be supporting, and grab that one. So the key thing you have to know for map is put. Okay, put method. You see there are overloaded methods, not overloaded, only one method is there, sorry. So put is one method here where it is accepting a key and value pair. So when you are adding an element to map, so you have to
Use the
add it,
keyword.
yeah, you have to pass a key and value pairs and use the put method. And whereas with uh, removing, you have to just pass a key and then it will remove the value from there. And there are methods like to get the list of keys. Key set will give you. Can anyone tell why the set is the return type for key set? Because keys in the map just we discussed, right? Keys will be unique. Okay, they cannot be duplicated. Otherwise, it will be difficult to retrieve a specific entry from the map. So to
Give some specific number, some
yeah,
specific location.
yeah, that will be easy if the keys are unique. So as the what is a feature of set? Set specific feature is they won't allow duplicates, right? So that's why they have written key set here. Okay, it is returning set because they are not duplicates. Okay, so like this, I mean, this is one real-time example that we are seeing here, why they went to set. Okay, they could have go to list because they don't want to have a duplicated elements into it, so they remained it as set. And there is no method like getting a values from the map, so that is something going to be a custom implementation which we can write if you want. Entry set. Okay, like if you want to have list of entries with you and get the access to those entries and iterate through each entry in the map, then you can use entry set method. Equals is again to compare the equals method. So basically this I mean equals is basically coming from object class. So let's see, there will be a class called object. This will be one of the common interview question. This is a, I mean, I said, right, object class is going to be a god of all the classes in Java. So what are the methods in those, in that? So we'll have this clone, equals, finalize. Finalize will be asking in your interviews why the what is finalize method, why we will use it. Basically, this finalize method will be using in garbage collection. So what is garbage collection? Is basically removing the
Unused objects.
unused objects from JVM. So so this will be executed by default by JVM in some cases. And if you want to explicitly reduce the memory allocation or memory usage, sometimes you can also explicitly use this method to clear the garbage, I mean to clear unreferenced objects. Suppose in this case, in our example, you see here, suppose if I'm doing this exchange exchange like this, line 10 and line 13 have the instantiated objects and they have been stored with exchange and remitly exchange, right? And if I'm leaving this program like this, And because I'm not using this exchange method, exchange reference, and Remitly Express exchange, so they'll be unnecessarily in the JVM memory. So with finalize method call, so those objects which are instantiated already and not used so far, they will be removed from the memory.
Do you need to like specify the finalize method or there is no?
Yeah, I mean, that depends on the requirement. Suppose if you don't want to take care of it, I mean, it's not a very critical application, you can leave it. Otherwise, as we have discussed, right, when you go with try with resource, and like finally block. So in the finally block, you can write method finalize so that the object reference garbage collection will be working accordingly. What next? Where we were. Okay. We are with this. Yeah. Hash code is basically returns the hash code representation for the object, which means the integral representation of an object. So when you print a hash code, suppose, let me show you one thing, what it will do.
It shows like where the value is stored and the output is stored or not.
No. There'll be some integral representation. Suppose if I write Remitly exchange, if I am trying to print the Remitly exchange object, okay, let's see what it will do. You see this?
Yeah.
This is the hash code of this Remitly exchange. Okay, so this has been written by calling a hash code method from object class. Okay, if you want to override the Remitly exchange hash code method in your class, you can do it, right? That is what the overriding concept is. So I can write hash code. You see, hash code method by default came, and it's just calling the super dot hash code. Suppose if I wanted to return, I can just write it's integer, right? I cannot return.
Will that be used on?
Hmm?
Will be, I mean, do we use the hash code like in real time or?
Yeah. We have to use it. I mean, yeah, not regularly you will touch that method. If you want to have a specific name or specific integral representation for this one rather than what the default one JVM is giving,
Yeah.
then you have to use that. In this case, suppose if I wanted to return one, then let's see, let's try to execute the executor. You see here,
At the rate one.
at the rate one has come. So basically, the print, when you print it, it's calling toString method of this object. Okay, so when you, there will be toString method also in the object class. Returns a string representation of the object. Okay, what this toString will do is, when we don't have implementation here, uh, you see here, they're calling hash code in the toString method. Okay, so 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 this have a lot of explanation. Okay, println, let's say println method. So they're calling object, they're getting any object, right? what it will do, string dot value of this object. So then the toString method will be called. In the toString, we have hash code logic. So then they'll get hash code value and concatenate hash code value with the object representation, and then they will return this value. And we can also override this toString in the Remitly exchange. Public, sorry, I can just write toString. Okay, so instead of toString, if I write Remitly exchange, let's try to execute. So what will be the output? Any guess?
Remitly exchange.
Yeah, Remitly exchange.
Then whatever, I mean, so instead of printing the hash code, it prints these to
Yeah, if you see here in the toString method of the object class, I've opened it somewhere, right? Yeah, print string. String dot value of. You see this object dot toString is being called.
Yeah.
In the value of method, so that representation has come. And then after they get this in the toString, what they are doing, they're calling hash code. At the rate. Previously, you have seen at the rate and the number.
Yeah.
So that number is coming because they're calling hash code method. But in our explanation, in our implementation, we have not done that. Yeah, we are just returning the string of it. Suppose if I write like that, then
at the rate dollar.
we have hash code here. Where is this hash code? We've written hash code method, right?
In the exchange.
In the other class?
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Yeah, we can still code is in here, right? Let me write it here. Let's try to print it. So what value we will get? Any guess? Executor. Yeah, see here, one has come. So that's how the overriding works, and that is why we have in the map class. I mean, so why I have explained this object class methods are. So these object class methods will be used and overridden whenever they want. Okay, so same happened with map as well. So in the map class, you will see whenever you see equals method, so that might be coming from object class, and it has been extending the functionality over there. And you might also see hash code method. You see here.
You can see hash code.
Yeah, returns the hash code value of this map. They might have written some overridden functionality over there. Instead of just leaving it to super class, which is object, they've given some custom functionality. Size basically returns about how many list of entries, returns the number of key value mappings in this map, so which is indirectly number of entries in the map. And election view the values. Yeah, you also have the values return. It is also returning the values. Okay, so if you have as we have seen in the Excel here, suppose you have Google, Microsoft, Meta, you will be return the map dot values will be getting all the values of it. Okay. Next about map. Selections here. So we'll write one example with collections. I've written it already here. Maybe impulse. Yeah, let me write. So, yep. We'll see all one simple examples for each of them so that you'll be familiar. Which class we can write examples. Main method. So list interface. So we have imported Java util list, and then suppose names, new array list. So you can take any list type like linked list, array list, whatever it is. So can I write like this? New list.
Yeah. No, no, no.
Right.
We can write like array list names with your list, but a list times new list.
Yeah. But why I cannot write new list?
And list is an interface or a list or something like
Yeah. So we cannot instantiate interfaces.
that.
Okay. So you can only instantiate classes, not the interfaces. So that's why. So, but you can reference the class name, I mean the instantiated object to the interface reference. Okay. Let me do this one, like names dot add like Google. Names. And now we have instantiated the list class. So how to iterate through this?
For each method.
Yeah, for each method we will use like so. Do you know for each method how it will work?
It goes through all the
For loop, you know?
yeah. Same as like for loop, but
Yeah, int I is equals to 0, I less than or equals to I less than names dot size. So this is a size method from list. Okay, so it's going to return us a number of elements in the set. And then I plus plus. So it's out, and then you're printing which method we can use here. We have seen those methods, right? So now the requirement is I wanted to print the name. I mean each name during this iteration. So I have written system.out.println. Now I have to retrieve the name. I have the index with me. So how to get the names, respective name of each element in the list? Any idea? which method we can call here? Let's go to list interface. I mean, which class we are using? Array list instantiation we are using. Because even though you call any method on top of names, so the method will be executing from which class? Which class methods will be executing when you execute when you call a method from names reference? Yeah, because array list is instantiated here, the methods from array list will be executed. So we have to go with this class details. Okay. So we have array list methods here. We have to see all the methods. Okay.
Mhm.
But the requirement now is to get specific index based elements. Okay. To retrieve any index based elements, do we have any method here? Yeah, you have to see here and then use this method. Okay.
Get
Get of index. Index value we have with I. Then it will give the value and after printing. Yeah. Let's execute this. Here we got the values. That's how we have to use the methods of collections. Okay. Now the requirement is I don't want to print apple here. So how can I program that one? Any guess?
we we can like we want to make the index of one.
Index of one. Okay. In that case, let me take this one as well. I'm adding another apple here. So now we have 4 elements. Okay. Now I wanted to skip apple to be printing. So now you will see, I mean, it's something you are doing on your own.
Yeah.
So you have to leave program to think how to skip apple. I mean, as apple is in index 2 and index 4, you are doing like index 2 and 4. You can maybe conditionalize that skipping the index 2 and 4. Then you will not see apple. Like the approach, what you are saying is,
Yeah.
if
So it will be printing the fourth thing, the
I is equals to 0 and I equals to sorry, not 0, 1, 3. Continue. What continue will do?
I mean it continues the if statement.
Yeah, basically what continue will do is right now the iteration, if we don't have the statement what it is doing, it's executing in each iteration the sys out statement, right? And if you have this condition and write continue statement, so continue when it comes here, so it doesn't matter what is there in the next lines of the for loop, it will skip the code and go with the next execution. Okay, so let's see what is happening. Okay, it's not done. It should be skipping, right? Hmm. Continue. Think don't write this. Yeah, when you write this code,
I guess the continue will be like, I mean, outside of the loop.
but I think we are not using index based. That's a problem. Index based is a problem. Okay. I is equals to okay. Sorry. Yeah, that's the problem. Give me. ఇంకా వేరే వాళ్ళు ఎవరు లేరు వీళ్ళు ఆన్లైన్లో ఎవరు లేరు యా వీళ్ళు అయ్యాడా ఓకే ఓ సారీ సేమ్ Sakiran, hope you are able to hear us.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay, sure. Sorry, you're clear with the explanation so far, right? I didn't
Yes,
realize that you joined the call.
yes, yes.
Any doubts so far?
No, okay. No,
Okay,
Kalyan.
okay. So you were there from the beginning of collection explanation, Sakiran?
No, first half an hour I am not there. After that
Okay. Sure. Here, let me try to print this. And now we are able to skip Apple from the prints here. So how is it done? We're just validating the index. Like I is equals to 1 and I is equals to 3. We're just continuing the for loop. So it's not executing the below line and executing further statements. And suppose if I have the same object multiple times, what we can do now? Just skip Apple from the code. Any case?
Like, we can see if we can just remove the element that it's containing Apple and then print the remaining notes. But below you're accessing through the index.
Yeah. So any inputs from you, Saikiran?
I think maybe any default method maybe use.
Default method. What is the default method?
You are keep. I mean, you mentioned a if condition, right?
Yeah, yeah.
No idea, Kalan.
Yeah. Can we write like this? Like if I do names dot get off index dot
Equals to Apple.
apple. So this way, so whenever
Now you'll be printing Apple. So
mm apples only will be printing.
yeah,
Why?
I mean you're accessing the elements of the names that are having Apple.
Okay. So the print logic in line 23 is doing the whatever element that we are getting at the moment. Okay. So how this for loop will be working is the first time when you come with 0, it will go inside, it will fetch the value
If
of,
it's Apple,
if it's apple, then we are calling continue method, continue keyword here. Continue keyword, what it will do is it will skip executing next lines of the
Yeah.
code and it will go for the next iteration. When it is 1, then it will come to here. Whenever you see apple as a string, then it will not allow the program to print.
Okay.
So the remaining strings will be printing. Okay. So
I mean instead of using the continue also, like you can just assign like the names of get ID,
what?
names dot get of I if not equal a equals to I Apple, then we will
Yeah,
not be
no, yeah,
printing
we
that
can also
one.
do that. Not equals
Not
to
equals,
apple,
yeah.
then we can avoid using continue. That way. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I wanted to write the logic to see, to validate, to search if a specific element is available in this list or not. Suppose I wanted to see if Microsoft is there in the list or not. How can I do that?
It may not be the equals to
Yeah, maybe we can remove this one for now. Command. I just write this out. Is Microsoft in the names list? Okay. I'll write name Let me take a scanner. C.next will give whatever data that is entered, string name. So is the given name in the list? Is a question mark. Okay, I'm just writing a search method by passing the name to this search method. So what the search method to be returned, I'll formulate in a way that yes or no as the response, right? So as per this string, if we put yes or no is the meaningful response. So the return type should be string, method name should be search, and parameter to this search method. What is parameter should be? Yeah. String type
String
name. And then so
Continue.
Hmm?
No.
Continue. Why?
We can be.
No, no, no. Continue you can only use when you're in the loops. Yeah, this is a method, right? So we have to write some logic to validate if this, yeah. So if this list. So let me try to put this list outside the method. So what type of variable is names? Is it static or non-static? No, non-static. Because if it is a static variable, we have to raise a static keyword before that. Yeah. So as it is non-static, we cannot have the variable name directly without instantiation, right? So let me try to put this as well outside. This all we call it as initialization. Okay, so basically initialization has to go inside the constructor. Examples. I'm just putting list code inside the constructor. Okay, and
you created the public class example, right? So why again examples?
yeah, examples is a constructor. Okay, when you are initializing,
Like you can give the array list and the my all, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, then instead of
so you don't want to have
yeah,
this
if there is
constructor.
any use, like what's the use?
Yeah, what is the use means?
We can just give the input in the class example, right? Or like that also we can.
Input, you mean to say in the main method
Not in the main method, the examples, but
outside?
yeah, the class.
Yeah, you cannot write this logic outside the methods.
No, I mean in the class, yeah, there.
Here, yeah, you cannot write that because this is all business logic, right? I mean some logic cannot resolve add method. So this addition, I mean any logic that you are writing, you can only do this inside the methods or constructors. Okay, now we are not either inside the method or not inside the constructor. So outside the methods or constructors, you can only have variables or declarations. Okay. So here I have added all these things. So then just try to write examples. Examples. By writing this, what will happen?
Yeah.
Basically, the examples is a constructor. So constructor will be executing. Okay, even though you don't write it, constructor will be executing, but a default constructor will be executing where there is no logic. Now, during this object initialization, so all these names will be added to the list. This logic will be executing. Okay, now we will be having names value with us.
Search method.
Yeah, we can execute the search method. So to execute the search method, so names dot. So do we have any methods to see if a value is available in the list or not? So let's go back to docs again. So now we are instantiating array list. Okay. So we have to go to array list docs to see if an element is available. Specified element is available in the list or not. Okay. Can you see and let me know which method?
Contains average dot contains in the
Yeah.
checking specific element.
So you see here this method. So let me try to use that method here. Names dot contains. What is this contains method expecting? An object. Okay. So any object we can pass. Name is an object we can pass here. So what this contains method will return? Boolean.
True.
True. True if it is available, false if it's not. Right. So let me put this inside the for loop. Sorry, not for loop, in the if condition. Yeah, whenever it returns true, then I'll return yes. Else return no. Just this is just to print this valid thing. So search is giving an error here. Non-static method search cannot be referenced from the static context because you cannot call a non-static method from the static method. Okay, if you want to call this, you have to instantiate this one, right?
We need to create another search object, or else we can convert this into static.
Yeah, either you have to create a search method into static. The error is gone. There is another error. Names again. If this method is going to be static, again names method is non-static, right? Names value, you cannot use that. So to avoid that, let's go back to use examples instantiation we did. Examples.search. Right? Now the errors are gone. What happened? It's not done. It's going on. Stop and rerun. Points. Collections examples. Okay, let me run examples main method. Why is it not running? Let's debug it. Somehow it's not executing. Yeah, it came to main method. What we are doing then, to go to next line, which we have to click here, step over, step into, which option we have to go with. We have to go with 33 line now.
Step over.
Step over. Yeah. So we have examples. So examples will be initialized with all the values. We have this one. Next statement, step over. Oh, yeah, it's expecting a string to be entered, right? That's where we are. It's if step over, then it's asking for a value in the console. Let's execute Microsoft. Enter. Then it is here. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Is Microsoft in the
In the names list, no. It is printed. So that is how you have to execute. You have to write the programming, okay, with collections. So we have written search, right? Now let's try to do sort. Okay.
I'll leave now. I have to work.
Okay. Sure.
I'll continue.
Yeah. Kiran, you got it? Sai Kiran, you're there, right?
Yeah, this is collections. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, right now we have done a sort mechanism, sorry, search mechanism here by passing. Yeah. Yeah. The next step is we're trying to do sort. Any idea how to do sort? Same thing, whatever you have done by referring to the logic, referring to the these APIs, you should be able to figure out. You can see the API and let me know. Sai Kiran. So how can we sort them? I'll try to write the logic in the meanwhile. Yeah. అది కంప్లీట్ అయిపోద్ది ఇంకా క్లోజ్ చేస్తాను నెక్స్ట్. Yeah.
If you want, you can.
It's okay. Any idea, Sakiran, how to sort? You can refer to this. Hope you are able to open the docs, right, of array list. Sakiran. You're on mute, Sakiran.
Not getting the idea. Just
Yeah, you can refer to this docs, right, so that you will get some idea. You will see what to do. Now the thing is, requirement is we need to sort this. You're able to see the list of strings here.
yes.
Yeah, the requirement is we have to sort. I mean, we are instantiating this array list to the list, and we have to sort them. After sorting, I mean, maybe your logic will go here for sorting. Then I'll put this logic. I'll iterate through these names. And then try to print them. Any idea from you guys
Yeah, I mean,
about sorting?
Arrays dot sort maybe.
Arrays dot sort? No.
uh,
Arrays dot sort might be there, but now we have this array list with us, right? So you can refer this array list docs. Okay. Array list. Let's see first whether array list have any functionality to sort it. Okay. So array list is having should have a sort method. Okay.
yeah, like
Search for sort.
sorting.
You see this?
Yes. Oh, yes.
Sorts this list according to the order reduced specified comparator. Let me try to execute it without sort. Okay, first. Okay, I'm removing this condition because I wanted to see all these things to be printed. All of them are printed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now sorting logic will write here. So examples dot
Names also.
names dot sort. Unchecked call to sort comparator as a member of raw type is a warning. I can ignore that, I think. But it's expecting a comparator. Let's try to use comparator. Comparator. What is this comparator? Again, going there. So comparator is an interface. Now the requirement is what it is expecting. So this, see, like this you have to program. Okay, you cannot know all the methods at a time in your real time. Okay, couple of methods from the training you will learn, but not all the methods you will have handy. So if the situation occurs, this sort method is expecting a comparator type object to be passed. Okay, so we have to see what comparator object is. So That also will be provided by Google Doc, I mean the Oracle Docs. So let's see what this comparator, how to instantiate this comparator object. So static methods are there. There are no constructors. So you can just directly write comparator object, but this is not a class to instantiate directly as new comparator here, right? You cannot do new comparator. This is Java 8, maybe they are giving this one. It's a different story. You cannot write new comparator like this, right? You cannot write it because comparator is
There is already method name with comparators.
no. Comparator is an interface, right?
Yeah.
You cannot pass by instantiating it here. So how can you do that? By writing a class which is implementing comparator. Okay, like which comparator? I'm writing a custom class like name comparator. So what is the keyword I have to use to use the comparator interface? Implements, because comparator is an interface. Okay, so when you are implementing an interface, you have to definitely implement all the methods of that interface. Really? I don't think so. I need to. Not necessary. Sorry. So all the methods implementation is not necessary. You can specifically implement a specific method that is needed. Otherwise, whatever implementation that is there with a comparator, that will be executing. Right now, compare method we wanted to execute because comparison is something that we wanted to execute, right? So object one is basically object O1, object O2. O1. So yeah, let's come to this logic little late. Okay. Redo. Okay. Before coming here, so as we cannot write new comparator, we have written a new class called name comparator. New name comparator. Okay. So we are passing new name comparator. That's all done with this one. So if object one and object two, right? What is this name? Compare logic. If O1 dot compare to O1 dot compare to O2. Mm, sorting, right? So O1 is an object, and when you pass this object,
And the comparator
is a string. Let's try to put it as a string. Class name comparator must either be declared abstract or implement abstract method compare. Okay, all the abstract method have to be implemented. So it has to be on object. No way. We can override this one. We can modify this. We cannot do that. So if O1 compare, right?
and here is just mentioned like if we use the comparator method, I mean, if they are like a greater than, then it will return like positive number if it's less than, negative number if it's equals.
Yeah, that is compare to method. Yeah. We need a comparator, right? Comparator. Compare. Reversed, then comparing. Compare its two arguments for order. Compare of no, cannot write that. It's okay. Maybe we'll go with the sorting for now, as we have another approach of doing that, like collection dot sort. There is this collections class, you are aware. So collections dot, yeah, collections Java docs. Okay, so here you see there should be a sort method in the collections class, so which is expecting a list to be passed, right? So we can use that method. List we have no names, examples dot names. I can pass the names, and then let's try to print the names. Incompatible types cannot be converted to Boolean. Oh, okay, sorry. This one will remove.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, printed with the sorted order, right?
Yeah.
AGM. So that's one approach of doing it, but we can also use comparator. So sort of comparator, right? We can also do that. Yeah. And there is another approach of doing is arrays.sort, as Saikiran told. So you will have arrays class. there is a sort method inside this one as well. You see here, you can pass string object array to it. Okay, so that's where we're passing examples dot names. I'll comment out this line. What is this? Same thing. Cannot resolve method sort of list itself. Hmm. Sort of object A there is no method to take a list here, so we cannot use this one also. We have to do some logic more to get this done. For now, sorting, you can remember this part. Okay, we'll explain about this comparator, comparable, and how the differences will work, probably as part of interview question discussions later on. It's about list, and set is also similar thing. Um, let me create a new class. Set example. In the set example, we will use set s is equals to new
As
set. See this import we have to do, and s dot add same way. I will add number one s dot add number two s dot add number two. Okay, so what will be the, I want to see the size of this set. So what method we can use?
S dot size.
S dot size. What would be the size of this one?
3.
3? 5?
No, I mean 2, like 0, 1, 2. If it's gonna be size, then it will be 3.
Yeah, I mean, size is basically not the count. And summing up all the elements inside that.
Okay.
Bas-
How many are
Yeah, how many elements are there in the sort? Okay, so now we have 3 elements here. If it's a list, then you'll be seeing the count as 3. But as it is set, and set won't allow duplicates, right? So you will only see the count as 2. Okay, and so even
repeating, it doesn't count the
it doesn't consider that. It doesn't add that element to the set itself. That's why set won't allow duplicates is the definition. So how many when you have hundreds of twos, it will only consider only 1 2.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the specific features of set. You take any set that will be like that. And Q we have seen. I'll just take a queue is equals to new dq, something like that. All the methods are coming. Which queue we can use? Priority queue. It's okay. Queue dot. What is this? Let me on this one. How to add an element to the queue?
Queue, it's a push and
Priority
pop.
queue. Push method. Same way. Let's go to Google Docs. Sorry, Oracle Docs.
It's a queue dot add.
Q dot add.
Yeah.
Add of 3. I think priority queue won't have that. I think. Let's see that. We need to use delay queue, linked blocking queue. Linked list is also the same way. Priority queue. Let's see. What are the methods in it? Add is there, right? Maybe the queue is properly implemented. Cannot resolve add. Why? Is queue priority queue use of ETL package? Yeah. Mhm. Any okay. Okay, okay. That's the problem. Yeah. Queue dot add of let's take USA, India, UK, something like that. Next, if I am doing Q dot push or peak, what should be the output of it? Cycling.
This, I mean,
If I just write a peak method, so as per this logic which we have covered, right? So first Q is basically first in first out principle. Okay, head will be
Okay.
pointing here. So peak will be returning the whatever value will
Move.
be at head. Okay,
Okay, one.
will be removed from the queue. So now as per this, first we are inserting USA, India, UK. Now q dot peak should be pointing to the head. So what is the head?
USA.
Yeah, head will be USA at the moment. Let me run it. Why in India? How Okay, let me re-execute it. This time, priority queue, any specific features of it? Unbounded priority queue based on a priority heap. Elements of a priority queue are ordered according to their natural ordering or by comparator. Okay, so you see here,
No.
priority queue is basically ordered based on the natural ordering, not like first in, first out. So that's a specific feature of priority queue. That's why it is behaving like this. So let me go with the DQ maybe. Shit. It's too intelligent.
DQ.
Abstract cannot be instantiated. DQ is an abstract method itself. Abstract class. So abstract classes cannot be instantiated. So let's take array DQ. Sorry. Try to execute it. Yeah, now it's pointing to USA. As part of the definition, USA should be removed from the queue now, right? And then yeah, when you do pop, now what will be the input? What will be the output? What's better here? Cannot resolve pop in queue. Poll, right?
Poll, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now it's USA. If I execute second time, it is still USA.
No, it will be full here after the filter.
Array,
Retrieves and removes the head of this queue. Or doesn't know.
After removing also, but we are executing the same code, so I mean it's not storing the data.
Okay. We are not collecting it,
Yeah.
right? We are not collecting the same code which is instantiated. It will be executed. Okay. Let me take. Let's assign this to. So as per this poll, is going to return a updated queue after execution. So then I have to type. We have to write like this. I'll write peak. Cast expression. So every time peak will be printing, it will be updated. Let's see. First time it has to USA. Exception, threadment. Class cast exception. array q. String cannot be cast to. Okay, that is string. Retrieves and removes head of this queue. Maybe some specific feature again with array dequeue. Whole method do we have here? Retrieves and removes the head of the queue and represented by the dequeue. In other words, the first element of the dequeue or returns null if the dequeue is empty. Head of the queue retrieves but does not remove. Okay, let's iterate this. How to iterate this one? Let's take iterator. After we do peak, remove this. Okay. Q dot iterate. In here, iterator is equals to, we're just trying to put it outside. While loop iterator dot has next. This is methods, okay. Iterator dot next. I'll be printing it. So it has to print all the values one by one. Okay. Then what I'm doing is q dot poll. Concurrent modification exception. This is one of the interview question. You see, when we will get concurrent modification exception. Okay. So basically, if you're iterating through one loop and if you're failing somewhere, then I mean, if you're trying to update the list or modify the queue somewhere, then you'll be facing concurrent modification exception. This is a common for any collection. You're iterating through one collection, and if you're trying to modify the collection in middle, so then you will be facing this error, concurrent modification exception. Now we should not do this basically here, but whole method, why is it not working? After whole, suppose q dot whole. I'm executing this. This time, yeah, now US is gone. Yeah. The problem is that one. Because in the previous example which we have done, when you execute that code, we are directly printing the poll returns value there. Hence, it's not updating every time. Here. So q dot peak. So when we are executing, it is giving USA. So the queue might be updated afterwards. If I try to poll, then we will see India here. You see? Why? Because if we try to reinitiate the program, then it starts again with USA, India, UK. It will try to first print the first poll element USA and remove the USA, but we are not seeing what's the
Saving it.
collection after the. I mean, not saving. We are
Yeah.
not seeing it.
Okay.
The execution is ended here. If we are just executing up to here, so USA is removed from the list, but we are not printing that later on. So it is printing up to this point only. But when I write the another printout, then we are seeing what is there in the latest head. Okay, so and we'll try to complete one more concept, a hash map, how that will be working. Then we will wind up the Java sessions. I'll just comment out map is equal to new hash map. So this is about map, okay? Map dot. So in the map, if you want to insert any element, so you have to use put value, and then one as a keyword, some key and some value. Microsoft. We cannot put the duplicate values, but the keys, like duplicate keys, but the values can be duplicated. Let me try to print it for map. Okay, let me take each entry. Entry is equals to. I have to import this class. Keys to. Oh, sorry. Map entry. Map dot entry. And I need to collect the entry set, which is map dot entry set. There is this method we have seen, right? And what is this? Parameter entry, to change parameter entry type to object. Entry set. And then we will have okay, I think we have to cast it. So you know casting, right? What is casting? So basically entry set is let me try to work it. So this is object. And then this object, if I wanted to convert it into entry, is equals to map dot entry type to make it. and then entry. So this should be fine. Because this is called casting. So entry is of type object. Okay. But to operate with it in the later stage, we need of this entry should be of type map.entry. Okay. And then this out. Key is entry dot key get sorry e dot get key value e dot get value. Let me see. Should print 1, 2, 3 Microsoft. You see, we're getting all the values like this, right? Like this, you have to iterate, and this is how you have to get the values from key and value pairs. Okay. And suppose if I'm inserting 3 again, let's see how many values will be there. There are 2 entries only because it won't allow duplicate keys. Okay. Suppose if I put Google here, what will be the output of it? Can any guess? Any guess? Cycle.
Same, I think Microsoft because duplicate, right? The value will not be.
But there is a change with Google here.
They change. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So then you will see Microsoft Google.
Yeah, Microsoft.
Yeah, that's key.
Yes, yeah.
You will see how the hash map will be working internally. So basically, let me go to Excel. So hash map will basically, this discussion is very important. I mean, this is very important question you will see in almost all the interviews, 80 to 90% of the interviews. So they will ask what is the hash map internal working. I mean, if you understand this, you can say other internal workings also somehow similar. Hash map will basically will have initial capacity of 16 buckets of space. Okay. So 16 buckets of space will be there like this. Okay. And any element, so every entry, so when you're trying to add an entry here, suppose you're giving one Microsoft, right? So then it will calculate, hash map will calculate the hash code of this value, this object. This is basically an object. If you see the put method, so key is object and value is also an object type. So for this object, there will be a hash code representation. So based on this hash code representation and index calculations that it will do internally, so it will find a appropriate bucket for it, like buckets of size 16, right? So
Object has like 3, will create 3 buckets.
no. No, bucket size will be 16 fixed.
No, 16 is fixed. But if Microsoft has 3, then it takes 3 buckets and 16.
No. That's what. So whatever you see here is not the index. Okay. So there will be an integral represent. We have seen, right, hash code. When we print the hash code, what value is coming. So based on that, it will calculate internally the index. So 16 buckets, 0, 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. 16 will be there. Okay. So not 16, 15, right? 0 to 15. Yeah. So then, so based on its calculation, it might give an index of 3, suppose. I mean, suppose for 1, if they calculate it and get the index, I mean, they will use bitwise operator. So bitwise operator will give, so they will control, it should not go beyond 0 to 15. Okay, they'll find some index finally. So suppose if the index is 3, then this one will be uh, here with value Microsoft.
Okay. So if it's 3, then it's somewhere around like 5 to 6.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah, if it's 3, somewhere it will be like this. 3 is equals to Microsoft.
Mhm.
Okay, and then you see 3 again.
Yeah.
Then what happens is there is some additional logic here. So if it is 3, okay, and initially you will get same hash code. So based on the hash code and index, you will come to this position. Okay, and then there will be value comparison. So even though hash code is equals, okay, it will see whether the value is equal to or not. Okay, so
Okay.
at index 5, you have 3 Microsoft already. So then it will see the new key is 3. So then this 3 is equal to this 3 or not.
So
So
3 equal to Microsoft equal to Google.
no. So
So
you have to
first
put this
3.
value.
Okay.
Okay, value is later part. So you don't have to value validation or comparison won't be happening anytime. Okay. So yeah, if it's 1, then you will see Microsoft. Let's assume 1 is Microsoft and 3 is Microsoft for now. And when it is comes to 3 again, so it comes here, and the key is again 3. So keys are same.
Oh,
So key comparison is same. So then it is updating the value of existing 3's value. That's it.
so
Okay.
how many 3s are there? It will just stay there.
It will stay there and update it.
Okay.
Update the value. And suppose
Okay.
if the hash code, suppose if I'm adding a new element, suppose 5. You remember we have written a method called hash code in some time back, where is there is this Remitly exchange. So return 1. So whatever it is, object is, I mean, how many times you instantiate, we are returning same hash code. So in that scenario, so even though you return 1, suppose if your hash code method is returning same value every time, so then what happens in this case? Suppose this maps hash code method, even though if it is 5, it's still returning 1.
Yeah.
Okay, then it has to come again to the same position, right? But as a second step, we know, right? 3 is not equals to 5. The value comparison it will happen, even though the hash code is equals to and equals, but the value comparison won't be equal. So then what happens is at the same bucket, it will add a new node. Okay, I mean, let's just to avoid name here, like A, A, B, C, D. Okay, and see here. Okay, if suppose for these two elements, when it comes to second and third, okay, hash code will be definitely equal because the text is equals, and that also depends on the hash code logic there, right? Okay, and hash code is definitely equal and content is also equals, then the value is overriding. Suppose if C is hash code and D's hash code is also equal, but the comparison sorry, the content is different, then it will not override the value of 3. Okay, it is A, it is C, it is D. Okay, it won't update the value of C. Instead, it will create a new node like D and Google. Okay, so then we will have 3 elements. Let's print it. New 3 elements will be there. So like this, hash map will be working. So you have to remember 3 steps. It will have 16 buckets of memory. Initially, it will calculate the value, and that value, initially it will calculate hash code for a key, and if hash code is equals, then it will simply override the value of that key. Hash code is equals, but the content is not equal, then it will create a new node. Okay, so these are the 3 steps you have to remember, and if you explain this one in the interview, that should be more than enough. Okay.
So what does a bucket contain?
Bucket will be again
Size.
like
Is it like a container.
memory allocation. Yeah, there will
But
be
bucket has like a size,
Yeah.
byte size.
again
16
I,
bytes.
I mean the internal data structure of this bucket is going to be a linked list again. Okay, linked list. Okay, so this linked list is basically structure of this linked list will be, there will be a actual value. Actual value is in this case is key. Okay, and previous nodes value.
Nodes value.
Okay, and next node value. So like this, it will have internally. I mean, they'll have a lot of mechanism.
Yeah.
And so to understand this in detail, you can just search in Google saying that how HashMap internally works. You will see all the detailed explanation. But in the interview
They won't ask
perspective,
that
you
much.
don't need that much depth analysis and all. If you can confidently explain how it's going to work, the thing hash code equals node terminologies and use the procedure, then they'll be getting you. You got something, something. Yeah. So that is about collections.